What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk
Mwah,
with
mwah.
Real Fitness. Here with Mike, Lucho, and we got Jesse on today, who is going to be the featured guest because Jesse is going to talk about his impressive weight gain. He was a solid 180. He wasn't like a weak 180. He was already a pretty muscular 180, and he's gotten up to a thick, strong 200 pounds, 200 pounds. That's
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 right,
something
my man.
a lot of men and women want to do, and it's not an easy journey. So today Jesse's going to shed some light on his journey to a thick strong. That's the episode: how to get thick and strong,
Mm-hmm.
thick
Thick and
strong.
strong.
200. So
Thick and strong.
I know. I'm
Before
not
we
sure that I want
thick
thick,
and
but
strong, baby. Yeah. You know what? This thing needs a song. You don't
he's
have
just
like an introductory song?
oh yeah.
Dun,
What would be your
dun,
song?
dun, 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 dun,
it's
dun,
gonna be
dun,
a heavy
dun, dun,
metal.
It's
dun,
on
dun,
it's on the
dun,
notes.
dun,
It's on
dun,
the notes,
dun, dun,
Jesse.
Thick and
dun.
strong. I got thick and strong.
Here with real fitness.
A
Bum,
lot of
bum.
tweaking still left.
So the first question to kick it all off is man, so was there like a because we've been all together for a while, and this was so we've known you for years where you were like 180. So it's like we've known you for a while, and you were a muscular 180. So you weren't like someone who was new to weightlifting. You were working out, and you were a pretty muscular guy, and then you took it to the next level. Was there what did it? What was like that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm about to
Mm.
get serious and I'm about to take this to the next level.
You know what? As always, it was a photo. But you know what? Let me take it way back because I think this is funny because my weight has fluctuated so interestingly. Like Peter froze. It's funny.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like,
Can you hear me?
We can hear
we
you
can
just
hear you.
fine.
That's weird. I
It's
don't
just,
know.
it's,
Well, you can keep talking.
yeah, stay like that, Peter. It's great.
He's still
No,
in
he's
this.
just like, it was like, yes, I know that I'm that little. Okay.
Frozen time. He's frozen
Um,
time.
all right. So let me take, this is actually a kind of funny story. Only because it's stupid. Later, Peter. Um, I want to take it way back to high school. Okay, so in high school, I used to play basketball, not well, and then but I used to play basketball nonetheless. And in high school, you have a high school brain that thinks like a high school boy. Okay, so I think I shared this story with some of y'all, but in high school, my favorite player, one of my favorite players was 6'8". Okay, he was 6'8", 225, right? 225, just a big black man, just fucking dunking on everybody, right? And I was 5'8". So in my head, I'm like, you know what makes sense? If he's 6'8", 225, I should be 5'8", 125, right? That's how the math goes, right? So I kind of stayed around 125 to 130. And I graduated around roughly, I graduated high school weighing that much, which is like 125,
Like
130.
one that's a little dude.
That's lean.
That's the, and but I mean, I did like at least 100 push-ups a day.
Were you cuz like you're muscular, so were you like a muscular
I
130?
was, I was. So
So you were like
I
a
was the,
Bruce Lee?
yeah, Bruce Lee, Salvadorian Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
More like, more like, huh? I was mostly butt and and calves. That's all I was. You know what I mean?
Butt calves
That's
and
not
that's
Bruce Lee
it.
body.
No, that's why let's call it like Luis Lee. That's more like
So you were kind of like
any
a cricket, like a cricket.
yeah, like a just a awkward inside, awkward outside. So anyway, so when I started college and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play college ball, fuck yeah, and I did. And when I got there, man, everyone was like, I was like, oh shit. Hey, can we curse?
Yeah,
Question,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
It's recommended.
Yeah.
Say what you got to say.
So I was like, holy shit, everyone's like so much bigger than me by a lot. Like everyone was like just big dudes with big hands and big triceps. There was this one guy that had just like big shoulders, and I was like, oh, that guy. And I was like, I need to gain weight. So from there on, I was like, I need to eat more or something. So I blimped up to like 160 around that time, which is perfect basketball weight, honestly, because you still have, you're light enough to move around, but still a little beefy enough to not be pushed around, right? Anyway, so I thought that was funny that I started from like 130 to like 160. Then I got into fitness. Let's fast forward to like when I met you guys. I definitely like was around 180 around the time. No, 20. This is BC time though, before COVID. When we hit COVID, I went on. I challenged myself to get on the fasting. Not sure if you guys remember that.
Remember that? I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started fasting, and my window was only 6 hours, right? And I went from day one. I was like, you know what? I'm not
Eating?
tired tomorrow.
You
Yeah,
only ate for 6 hours?
yeah. So my window was only 6 hours.
What's that? 18-6 fasting?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go to the top,
Don't
baby.
mess around.
I don't fuck around with that shit. Anyway, oh, and that first bite of like whatever it was interesting because non-sweet things were sweet to me.
Mm.
Not sure if you guys fast,
Yeah,
you
you
know what
got
I mean?
sensitive. You got sensitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did, which was kind of cool. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. Anyway, I dropped down to like maybe definitely 180, maybe even below that, but it felt good. It felt like a mongoose just ready to pounce. You know what I mean? Um, and and that was cool. That was fun. It was light. Um, and and that was it. I was on that for like a year, and then fast forward some more, and I saw one photo. Okay, this is what it was. It was one dude who was like in CrossFit. I don't do CrossFit. Some French dude, and he was a hunk, man. That guy was hot, man. You should have seen on all of you. Should see this photo, man. His clavicle was just like his clavicle alone was enough to make your heart melt. You know
You
what
don't
I mean?
remember. You don't remember his name, do you?
So how were you like? Were you
Hell
like
no.
scroll? Like where did you see this photo? You were scrolling IG or
Instagram,
what?
Instagram, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So, and on Instagram, and I saw this dude, and he had like tattoos, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" And then, I was like, "Yo, man, like, I want to look like this guy, right?" And I asked like a buddy of mine, "I think I want to look like this guy, right?" And my buddy went, "Huh." And I was like, "You're right. You're fucking right." That's all he did. That's all he said. He just went PFFT like that. And then he just like left. And I was like, fuck, he's right. He's totally right. And then it made me think of like, so growing up, my dad used to be a amateur bodybuilder, right? He used to
Mm.
be one of these dudes, right? And he and his head, and obviously because it was a sport, or his thing was like leaner is better, right? Because you want to be this fully physique dude, right? And then I was like, you're right, Dad. And then as I got older, and you realize, like, when in bodybuilding, it doesn't matter what kind of bodybuilding, when you're competing and they're the leanest, they're actually at their worst. You know what I mean? Like, that's when they're dehydrated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're like almost passing out, which is it awesome, because that's what it takes. It takes
So
a
healthy.
high level.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, people out there in the world, like, when you see these dudes that are like that, they're only like that for a day, and then they have to like consume so much before they fucking die or
Yeah, they're
something.
like 48 hours away from death. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. So they're so malnourished at that one point that it's dangerous, and obviously it's only for a moment, and then they have to come back. But in learning, I'm like, wait a minute, you're wrong, dude. That's not your healthiest. Blech. Right? So I'm combining that, and then I'm like, wait, I want to look like this guy. How much does this guy weigh? Right? And I'm like, oh, he's 190 something pounds. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do that. Let's do that. And then, so the next day, what is it? Something that we don't do. I wasn't really counting my calories or my grams of protein or any of that. And that's all it was. It was just like, you know what? Let me just fix that part first, right? And that's what it was. I was just like, okay. It was that one fucking photo, and my buddy, not even, it wasn't even a word. It was just like,
That sound
right?
effect figured it.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, but in my heart, that was like that said it all for me.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? But yeah, that's what it was. That one image. I don't know what this dude's name is. I'm sure he's still like hunky, but he
Yeah, and
doesn't
then
know that Frenchman. I should probably send him a DM. It was like, hey, bro, your clavicle was the shit, man, and
in
I
your life, his
miss you.
clavicle changed your life.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Is it interesting? Like they've done, well, I don't know if they're real studies, because pseudo studies or whatever, but
Yeah,
like as far as like what motivates men to get big, and a lot of us come with this thought that like, oh, it's to attract a partner, if female, male, whatever you lean toward, it's like that's what you're trying to attract. But is it interesting that your motivation was actually more of a like a competition, more of like an ego thing? Like I want to be bigger than that guy,
that
not
guy
necessarily like
was
I want to attract
man.
this female. You know what I mean?
No, what? Holy shit!
Yeah,
I never even. That's
yeah,
never
because
even crossed
because
my mind.
generally we think like we get into this shape so that we can attract,
Yeah, men.
female whatever. But
I
it's
see at the
not.
gym.
It's a competition. It's like I want to have the biggest arms in the room. I
Yeah,
got to
Yeah,
have bigger arms than that guy, and that's what the motivator
yeah,
really at
always.
the
You
Even
know,
But
they
then
did us.
before,
but then
even
they did
before
this.
this. Uh
Yeah.
huh.
I
No,
was
I
no,
going to
no.
saw.
say
Go
they
ahead.
did this sort of the study, study said that they interviewed women and asked women like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan, or do you prefer Brad Pitt Fight Club? And most women were like Brad Pitt Fight Club.
So I saw that on. I was scrolling down through some of my feed, and I saw Family Feud with Steve Harvey being the host, and they actually had a question on what is it about men that we like to that inspires us. Muscularity was one of the surveys that was very popular, the top five. What motivated me wasn't so much the big; it was more of uh, the aesthetics. And I think the Bruce Lee body for me was more impressive than the Arnold Schwarzenegger body. But then I saw Sylvester Stallone's body, who's not a bodybuilder, but it was very aesthetic and muscular, but very ripped. That motivated me to get into more into this physique type of look instead of being big.
Did anyone else cry during First Blood or Bloodsport?
Bloodsport was, oh man, I used to watch that almost every day with
Oh,
my,
dude,
and
that's
then
right.
my friend, I think it was my friend Michael and I, we would go in his backyard and like fight each other we would do the moves. We would always try to like recreate the Kumite. But man, that scene
Yeah,
when dude breaks his leg, that was traumatizing, man.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and I used to always try to flex my chest like what was his name?
Bolo Young.
Bolo
Bolo.
Young. Oh man, I used to always try to
Who
flex.
lives around here, by the way? He lives like here in LA, somewhere in LA.
Does he?
He's a little man. I seen him before. He's
Little
very
man with a
short.
massive chest, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
Massive
biggest
chest.
chests I've ever seen.
yeah. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, yeah, it's like men. We totally. It's like they think we do it for the women, but we're like eyeballing each other. Be like, man, I got to get some bigger arms than him. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Screw
Makes
that guy.
sense.
So man, so you kind of answered this, but just to like kind of go over it again, because I wanted to, like your first step where you kind of said you had never counted calories and never tracked your protein.
Yeah.
So did you get some numbers in mind? Did you? Because I
Yeah.
know that's when you think about like clients, clients who were like, I want to get big, I want to gain muscle mass, and most of them are usually not doing enough calorically at all, and so they need to hear, it's good to hear that. So what did you do? What numbers did you get and start to use?
So, so the easy formula, and and I don't know why I never followed it. I guess because I never, you know, wanted to. I guess, but then immediately the easy one is 1 gram per body weight. You know what I mean? Which is the formula that I tell everyone to use, or at least try it. So at first, I wanted to get up to 190, right? So I was like, hey, I'm at 180 something. I've never weighed 190 in my life. So let me just try that for a moment, right? So I ate I aimed for 190 grams of protein per day. All right. So everyone out there, if you want to go up in weight, you eat that much. If you want to go down in weight, same thing. Like if I want to lose weight, then I'm gonna keep my grams like around 150 then. You know what I mean? So whatever weight you want to, your desired weight is, then you consume that many in grams of protein in either direction. Doesn't matter.
So what is the? Do you have a some sort of a basis like that for the carbohydrate intake as well, or is it just kind of like
Just
go
thinking
crazy on the
that.
carbs?
Go crazy because, and that's the beauty of trying to gain weight. Sorry, people out there, just trying to gain some. I just ate
It doesn't
all of it.
matter. Like
Doesn't
cookies,
matter. It goes in. Well,
cupcakes.
no. That's true. So I don't eat that stuff anyway. So it was very easy to just eat a lot carbs and fats and protein. That's
So what
pretty
were your
much it.
carbs like? Like, give us an idea of like your go-to
I don't even
carbs:
know how to quantify that. I would
rice, potato,
I would say
vegetables.
I literally ate white rice every single time. Like
The
every
Spanish diet.
single, yeah, but not casamiento. I wish.
Ah,
No beans. I
casamienta.
don't really eat beans. It was just rice and a whole bunch of it. I don't even count it. It was just like whatever, but it was basically a cup of rice or
But
more. You know what I
did
mean?
you have different variety of carbs like potatoes, fruits, veggies, or was it just rice?
Not quite. I think the consistency of just keep doing that one thing and then just eating more of that is that's all it takes. Like potatoes, maybe once in a while,
Hey Jesse, I
but
got to
I
interrupt you. We
really
lost you.
oh
Yeah, I
oh
was gonna
there it
say.
is.
There you
There it
are.
is. There it is.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Just go back and say what you were gonna say.
Oh, I didn't you okay.
Zip, zip, nip, snip, nip.
But it was just I think what works is sticking to one thing. What I realized with people is that like whether you want to lose weight or gain muscle mass or whatever, they play around with their food too much, right? It like, oh, I'm gonna eat this French thingy from I saw online or on TikTok and I'm gonna make it. I'm like, great, do that, but it's not gonna help you with what you're trying to do, right? Um what's helped me, it's the consistency and the of one, basically one or two three meals of the same thing, right? Rice, literally, this is all I ate. A lot of rice, eat protein, either egg, chicken, sometimes fish or beef, spinach or some sort of green, and hummus, some hummus. I need to jazz it
So
up a little bit.
you did hit the
That's it.
beans.
Huh?
I said you did eat the beans.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
A
he
different
did.
form.
Hummus is yeah,
Little
hummus.
Middle
That's a
Eastern.
sneaky. That's a sneaky bean. Sneaky
Yeah,
bean.
it
That's the
Sneaky
is.
that's
bean.
the that's the
Ripping
Middle
that.
East refried
That's
beans.
right. Well, yeah.
The Middle East refried beans.
So then,
Yeah.
all right, because that was going to be the next one. Was how did you? Because man, I'm gonna speak for probably many people out there who tried to up their protein. I'm like, man, this is tough. I just can't do this consistently. But
Yeah.
like, what was your consistent like Monday through Friday protein? What were you eating
Yeah.
of those? You
All
said egg,
right.
beef. Like, what did you do?
So what's what's for us, it's kind of hard because we wake up so early to work, right? So our days start really early, so we can't have a meal first thing. So I will make a shake, which is what I do now. And my shakes usually are like at least bare minimum 50 grams of protein off the bat. All right. So, and that's just the grams of protein.
You're going two
Uh,
scoops, so you're two scooping it.
Whatever, yeah, whatever it takes to get there, that's what's going in that shake. So and I save that until it's like my belly's like, hey, it's time to eat. It's not the first thing I take because that's a bit too much. Um, but that's what I have. My first meal back in the day, it was about 8 eggs a day. 8 eggs,
Now was that
about
at
like
one at one
two
at one sitting or
one sitting,
spread? Wow.
one sitting.
Was it straight
Um,
scrambled or what are you doing with the
yeah,
eggs?
I just scrambled it, just very quickly. 2 cups of rice
So many eggs.
and so many eggs, dude. And I kid you not, daily,
And did you have
daily.
just cartons of eggs lined up in your refrigerator?
Yeah, I would have like, which is a shitty time, stupid. Anyway, yeah, I would have like, I don't know, like 8 cartons in
Did you
my
Wow.
did you
fridge.
like lean on grass-fed eggs, or it just didn't matter? Just give me the egg.
Whatever, if the price is right, I mean, whatever the jumbo. If it was like organic, I'm like, give me the GMO for now, dude. I don't give a shit. It's going in here. No, you should give a shit. But whatever. Yeah, obviously you want to go more organic than not. I saw a carton one time, and the carton with the chick, they were like, "Hey, actual chicken." The chicken was like, "Fucking help me!" And I was like, "I'm not gonna get that chicken. I'm gonna get the organic one." So, um, 8 grams, and then 8 grams. What am I saying? 8 eggs.
8 eggs.
And then later I would have another big meal, which would be like either whatever it amounts to 50, at least 50 grams of either chicken or beef. It needs to reach 50, you know?
What
Mm.
is what is what is what's 50 grams of chicken? Is that like two thighs?
That's probably it. Yeah.
2
So, first of
breasts.
all, fellas, yeah, that's like 2 pieces of breast. But breast is boring. I'm a thigh kind of man.
Yeah, I don't
Give me
like
the
breast.
thighs, baby. Give
I
me the
like
Too
steak.
dry.
thighs. Jesse is the thigh guy for
The
these
dark meat
eyes.
is better.
That's right, my one. Yes, that's right, Lucho. That's right. Um, so I would eat like maybe 3 pieces of thigh, which kind of would reach 50, 60 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Um, and
Now
that's the only
what
time I
time
got fancy. Uh-huh.
what time of the day are we at now? So you had your shake, your
Well,
egg. What time were the eggs? Eggs are like a noon thing.
and yeah, it is a new thing because that's when we have our little break. I would have like a
Yeah.
small break around 1:12 or 1 p.m. and then back to work. When I got back, which for me, it's around 7 p.m. and I'll stuff myself. Now I'm eating chicken. And then I'll force maybe like a protein shake.
Forced?
If
You forced yourself to eat?
yeah.
Wow.
So it's because I'm like, did I reach my macros? Oh, I need 20 more grams, so I'll drink a protein shake. Or, which is what I'm doing more now. I have egg whites, egg cartons. For some reason, that hasn't gone more expensive, thank God. So I just buy those and I just drink that
Mm.
Chicken raw?
and drink it raw. Just
Oh, you do
and
the man. Well, but it's in a shake though. It's in a shake, so you're not
no,
just straight.
just straight up,
You go
baby.
So,
straight egg whites.
That's
wow.
right.
How many meals are
Oh,
you having a day while you were going through this process? How many?
About two or three, two or three. It's the thing
Okay.
is my meals were big.
Big meals.
My meals were big meals. So you know,
I got to go back to
um,
this drinking egg white. Did that hurt your stomach? Did you feel like
not
you
at
were
all. But them farts were like for the real ones. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's
Like
that's
straight up,
that's where it
man?
goes.
like
That's
That's
where it goes.
those
wow,
are the
Your
dead
body,
rose for a moment.
wow.
your
Dogs were confused. They were like, "All right,
your
that's a
body
new
was
one right there."
your body was
Pop,
manufacturing it.
that's right.
So just like a quick a quick recap was you did a shake, 50 gram shake
Roughly,
to
yeah,
start the day.
yeah,
Lunchtime, 8 eggs.
yeah.
Dinner, 2 to 3 chicken thighs, and then topped it off with either a smoothie or a straight shot of egg whites.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
And that would
so you're
be
having
daily.
about 150 and above grams of protein.
Yeah, so around here, I was reaching at least 160, 150 to like 190
yeah.
of
I,
grams.
I think that's a good like this segment is a good thing for a lot of people who want to gain weight because it's not easy to do in three regular meals where that's like where you got to kind of I feel like you said like sometimes you have to force it, right? Like
Yeah,
you kind of got to get to that point where because if we're just regularly eating, you're not going to do that regularly eating. It's kind of like in the weight room. You're like, yeah, you could just regularly lift weights, and you kind of strong. But if you want to get really strong, you got to force it. So kind of
yeah.
it's
You got
hard
to
to
force it a
force.
little bit.
It's
Yeah.
hard to force eat.
And
Yeah.
in addition to that, you have to force things out. So,
That's
um,
my next question. How many
Yeah.
times a day did you have to go?
for that. Oh man. Oh yeah. I had to call the plumber, like Juan. His name is Juan. Um, and it was like Juan had to come over. Hey, the usual, the huge. He'll be like, "All right, don't worry." Clank, clank. Several times, honestly, and it got annoying, honestly. So before, let's say I had like a day out or like right, and I'm gonna meet out with a lady friend, and I'm
You got to
joking.
flush it out.
There's no lady friends, dude. It's just
No, you don't do
it's
it for
just
the
going
lady
out.
friends. You do it for the
No,
guy friends. When you hang out with
no.
your
But
guy friends,
let's
comparing
say I'm going
size.
out. Let's say I'm going back to work or I'm going just out. I have to eat, and I fucking have to wait, right? I have to like sit down on
Process
this
it.
couch at this little seat right here, this little number, um, and just wait because for sure I don't want to take a massive dump, an explosive, fucking aggressive and angry, just flush, just like a river of brown
You
and
said
stuff,
angry.
out there, and toilets might not be ready for it. Mine
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Juan put like a special flushing device for me. Thanks, Juan. Big up. Shout out to Juan. Shout out to Juan
Because
out there,
it was a
wherever you are, buddy.
Do you
real
have a
mud
bidet?
pie.
Do you have a bidet attached to your toilet?
No, no, he attached the hose to,
Good. Something's got to clean
and
that
I
out.
just like,
You
you
need a
got to do the
power.
finger thing.
You need a
You got to do
power
the
wash after that.
spouty finger thing and just go for it. But
You're
day.
producing real methane
This
gas.
segment just went a
That's
whole new
right.
direction.
Well, that's what happens when
And
you're
then
around.
what about any did you any supplements outside of just upping protein and all, any supplements that went along with this?
Yes, yes, of course. And this is what we should all be telling everyone, but this is what I've been sharing. Like, we really just need two things. Two things. That's it. Protein, which is what we all should be doing, right? In case you miss this. And then creatine. That's it. That's it.
Creatine.
That's all you need. Two things. Creatine is like Gatorade for the muscles. They love it. It's like a hydrating thing that just like, ooh, you know? And creatine is the thing that once you take it, you just fucking do that till the day you die. That's it.
Well, now
Forever.
you don't believe in cycling it. Like, do it for a month, take a couple weeks off because your body makes creatine itself, and there's some things that people out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
say
yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta
Yeah,
cycle
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Whenever I finish my bottle, basically I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna give it. That's basically it, right?
yeah.
We're just
Give it
going
a
like a
week or
week.
two before you jump
Yeah,
back
just
in.
a week, and then I go back at it.
What about
Um,
caffeine? What are your thoughts on caffeine then?
Wait a minute. Let's
Okay,
leave caffeine out of this,
am I getting
Buster.
ahead of you? I'm getting ahead of you.
Caffeine, keep that. No,
No
that's
caffeine.
just coffee. No, I definitely no, no, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't take that as a supplement. I would think that's just a joy of that's like the elixir of God right there. You know what I mean? That's
Mm.
like God's gift to us.
Truly.
You know?
Still
You know what?
fulfills.
I've
Is it
been
still
saying this. I've been saying this for a while, but if we put our money together, let's manufacture a bean where every sip is the first sip, and we call it first sip. Dude, we will be fucking rolling, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's all about that
I'm
first
writing
sip.
that down.
that first sip.
Write it down, Mike. Write it down in your notepad. If we could manufacture that,
that
I want
first
my
sip?
face on it though. I
Call it
want my
the first sipper hitter.
First
yeah,
sipper
first sipper
hitter.
and sip and premier sipper, right? And it's like or something. Anyway, that's it. Just those two things. Because that's
Protein,
protein,
creatine.
creatine. That's it.
Yeah.
Creatine, protein. How many grams? I do take 10 milligrams of creatine.
10 milligrams or 10 grams?
It's in grams or milligrams?
I think it's grams.
Okay,
I want to
10
say
grams
grams.
then.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. 10 milligrams. 10 grams.
10 grams. Yeah.
That's
10
right.
grams is a
2
lot.
scoops. Boom, bap. Yeah. So that's what I go for. And creatine has cognitive benefits, so that's great.
Yeah, it's
As you
also
can tell.
really good for the
As you
brain.
can tell, right? Lucho, look at this brain. No, so that's it. What I was going to share though, this is where people kind of screw up when they have goals like this, whether you're losing or gaining weight, is that this is what I meant actually when I said forcing in, but also forcing out. It's easy for me because I don't have a sweet tooth. I don't have a tooth for anything else, really. So it's very easy for me to do, but for others, this is where it actually becomes the challenge, right? Because let's say, for instance, I take my shake, I have breakfast,
Oh, we lost him.
and then
Wait, hold on, hold on.
and
Let's rewind that. Rewind that. Oh, there we go.
I
Let's
take a
start that over.
shake.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I take a shake, and then I have my breakfast, and then Mike's like, "Hey, want to go get like some like ice cream, dude?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go get some ice cream." When we get like a tub of ice cream, right? And now I'm like full from ice cream, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to wait even later for my next meal, right?" And I might not even get to it. So what I'm saying is that um, everything that goes in here has to be accounted for, right? So if I eat something that has not enough protein in it or any, right? I'm just prolonging the next feed of protein, right? Or might not even, and which might not allow me to fulfill the macro that is my goal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So that's actually something that I'm aware of. Like people are just like, oh yeah, I had like a sandwich. Oh yeah, well, what kind of thing? A ham sandwich. All right, but that's not enough protein. But now you're full and you really can't eat again. You know what I mean? So that's actually what I mean by like we forcing things out, right? I'm not gonna
Mm.
eat the thing.
Like this much bread and like one little slice of ham and like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
full
Oh,
of bread and they got like
yeah, yeah.
2 grams of protein. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hear often like, oh, I got a bagel with 2 eggs in it or 2 egg whites. I'm like, that's 12 grams protein. By the way, here's another thing. I'm gonna have to walk over here. Excuse me, because my phone is dying, and that's why keep getting
Ah,
cut off. So I looked this up. Mike, you should be the dude that's like on the computer, and you should be the guy that like fact checks everyone. All right,
yeah. What do
you
you? What
should
do
do
you?
this. But I heard this in a podcast, and a very studious woman who's a devout protein person. Um, and then she was saying this, but in this interview, and I was like, let me fucking look this up because this is interesting also. And then I looked it up, and then I saw another person who said the same thing, and I fact checked that, and then it's over. I was like, wow, this is true then, I guess. So there is a minimum, there is a minimus of protein intake. All right. So the minimus, in other words, and this is the way I tell people, like, when you go to like Six Flags Magic Mountain and the ride, you need to be this tall to get on the ride. There's also something like that for protein. So when you consume, let's say, and everything has like, hey, eat these chips. They have 6 grams of protein. Bleh. You consume those 6 grams of protein from those stupid chips, and your body's gonna be like, "What the fuck you want me to do with this shit? What is this garbage?" Right? It's just gonna
Mm.
look at it and it's gonna ignore it. What is this? So the minimum uh, is roughly 20 grams of protein, 20 to around 25 ish. So in other words, if you eat 2 eggs, which is 12 grams of protein, the body's going to be like, I need more. Bring some more. Bring some yogurt in here or something. All
So you're
right.
saying that doesn't go into your total.
No, it wouldn't because
So if I have a snack of 2 eggs, if I'm like, man, I'm gonna have a snack of 2 eggs and I'm gonna count that as 12 grams, that
it,
that
it's
doesn't.
it's it's not going to be a full, because you know how the body. And it also depends where the source is, right? An egg is a complete protein. Beef is a complete protein. So when we eat that, it absorbs most, like 99% or something, or 90%. I don't know.
The
Like
absorption is better,
my
and you're
absorption is
only
better.
it's only 25% of what you consume in protein that your body's going to assimilate.
Yeah. So
Over
it's like,
that, it's going to be carried into the system.
yeah. So you have to have enough for the body to build it, right? Versus, let's say, some black beans or some Middle Eastern pinto beans, as Lucho said. That's has some protein, but the percentage is much lower of what we're going to absorb of it. You know what I mean? So there's also those factors, right? Where You know, like there's a lot of this stuff out there that has been sold, you know, as like, hey, this bar has 12 grams of protein. Yeah, but your body's not going to use any of that because, or much of it, because it's most of it is not a complete protein, and it's just going to be like,
Oh, interesting.
it's not gonna play a big role in your macros, your
Yeah.
daily macros, right?
I
Which is
wasn't
what
I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting. I've only been aware of like I remember I heard there was of like the lows and high. There's like the low, like your daily low of like the least amount to do to maintain muscle, and then there's like the high of like anything above this isn't going to help you. So but I've never known about like in a single sitting if you eat that
yeah.
that
So
it doesn't
exactly,
work like you think. Yeah.
Depending
exactly. So
also, okay, go ahead, Jesse.
yeah, so exactly. So per sitting, per meal, there needs to people should have that in mind. Whoa, what's going on here, Mike? What's going on?
Do you see that?
How much protein? Most adults need around protein per kilo.
I typed
Uh,
in what is the minimum protein intake per day, and it
per
got to
day.
Now, is
0.75
there
grams
But
one?
per
Because
I'm
he's saying
talking
like
about per
per
kilogram.
sitting.
meal.
Yeah, he's
Per
saying per
sitting is what
meal.
I'm saying.
Is there one
Per
per meal?
meal.
Per meal. Well, let's
Per
Per meal.
see.
meal is what I'm saying. So when you consume
See
one meal,
what AI
we
says.
should,
15 to 30. Yeah, you were pretty much on
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Right there.
So and that's a rough estimate, right? So obviously, I always tell. This is why I always tell like clients and our peoples, if you're gonna consume something, make sure it has at least 20 grams, right? Hey, I'm gonna go for croissant from a donut from Sidecar. Dude, have you had a Sidecar donuts? That's what's up. But if you do that, you're no longer are gonna have space for protein, and you're gonna have to push out the next meal that you're gonna consume. So
Yeah,
that's why it's important to
that makes a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
sense. Especially because yeah, if like anyone working out, if you have a meal that's under like 15 grams of protein, but you ate a whole meal, there's a good chance that ratio of your meal was not
Not
that.
protein. Yeah, it was not that was not it's not fulfilling the nutrient that you're aiming for. So and this is where most people get wrong, is what I'm noticing, right? If we ask the ladies is which is actually and everyone really, but what I hear often from like the lady, the woman, oh, am I gonna get canceled now?
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
shit. What do I say?
Just
Help
lady women.
me.
I think we're good. I think we
Michael,
know.
What's
Michael,
wrong with it?
Michael, Michael, look up right now what to
Yeah.
say when you're talking about a woman. Anyway, when
Okay.
you're talking about a
The opposite
woman,
sex. How
Yeah,
about the
just roll with
opposite
that.
sex?
Yeah, just roll with that.
the opposite sex for me, um, I can hear Michael typing away quickly. Hey, appreciate it, Mike. Um, what I hear often is that the first meal doesn't have enough protein in it. Is what I'm trying to get at, right? They'll eat like an egg, or they'll eat like something that's like a oats, overnight oats, or something like that, or something, which makes sense, right? Because they've been delivered that message for eons, right?
Yeah.
Um, and let me see. When a man is talking about a woman, he might use the term
Girl,
girl.
sis.
Oh,
So say
I'm
sis.
gonna
Sis.
Say
I'm
sister.
gonna
Sis.
say
Yeah, say sis.
where my sister's at. Where my sister's at. All right. So when I'm talking about a sister, all right. That's what I hear often, and that's definitely, and those are most of our clientele is women. So it's important for them to know that.
A lot of
You know what's a good
sisters.
That
example of that? Of like because I saw somewhere there's avocado toast. It's like a pop. Women
yeah
get
yeah
that
yeah
a
yeah
lot
yeah
with
yeah yeah.
avocado because
No,
it's like avocados are great, but like you get full off the avocado and the toast. So you've got a lot of like fat, carb, but zero protein.
zero
Zero
protein.
A lot
protein.
of like that's like a popular health food in a sense. And
Uh-huh.
like for the average woman who's not getting enough protein, you're like you just started your day in a bad place.
Yeah.
Now,
And a
here's a
deficit. Yeah.
question right there. Is the intake of women is the same as men that we could digest equally between the 15-30%?
I
Mike,
would say
Mike,
yes. I
get
would say
Mike on the
yes.
get Mike typing. Get Mike typing. What's the
So
What
so
was the question?
What are
as
women's
long as
minimum?
as long as they meet their total day requirement. You know what I mean? So
And also, there's a lot of factors we could play with this because fasting. If you fast but you burn a lot of calories, can your body absorb more protein in one sitting? Can it
possibly.
exceed the regular average? Because
If you're health,
that's
if you're active and you're fasting, I think so. I think
I think
that's
you
right.
can because that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing. I fast a lot, but I also eat a lot more protein in one sitting. I'll probably do about 60 grams of protein in one
Yeah.
sitting.
Yeah.
Pretty much the
I
same as men.
so so
It's
yeah, it
pretty much
should
the
be.
same.
Another study. This is
But theirs was the
actually
same.
where
Theirs was the same, right? That's 15
Yeah.
to 30. So
it
basically
should
for
be.
both.
Yeah, yeah. So a study released last year, which got me excited, and I think it's still gaining popularity now. I think I saw some dude with this handsome, like really nice beard and yeah, nice hair, and he had a big shirt too. He was good looking and very informative. But anyway, what I'm saying is that even this guy, like a couple weeks ago, shared it. But there was a study last year where they had a group of people, I think three. There was a controlled group, Group B and Group C, and they had everyone work out. And after a workout, a good one, they had them consume protein, right, to see how much would be absorbed within that sitting after a workout, right? So the control was 0 grams of protein, so they absorbed zero, and they all died because they didn't have any grams of protein. And Group B was 50 grams of protein. Group C was 100 grams of protein. Guess what happened? So after a workout, Group B absorbed all 50, and guess what happened? Group C absorbed all 100 grams of protein,
Yeah, I remember that one.
which is kind of saying like after which proves because to me it never made sense. Like, why would my body doesn't? And then, you know what? What I like about what's going on right now is that things that your brain would just think about, right? I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Is now there's studies behind the stuff that are like, oh, have you seen that Leo Nardo um
Yeah.
meme where he's like, yeah, yeah, he's like pointing. I was like, that's what I was talking about. That's the thing. So my brain was right. You never voiced it because you didn't know it was a thing. But it never made sense to me where like, oh, your body's already gonna absorb fucking 20 grams of protein, dude.
Yeah.
No, why would it stop there? And
That's a
the
good one. Because I'm sure a lot of us have been told. I remember being told like younger, they'd be like, "Oh, don't you can only absorb 30 grams. So everything else is a waste."
yeah,
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like other. It's like some guy in the gym just told someone that one time, and then everyone told everyone else, and we all just
and
all
went
believe,
along with it.
and no
It's
one ever actually looked into
yeah.
it. You're all just, but it is, And I remember like what made sense is like if way back in the day, if we kill
Yeah,
a
way back.
buffalo,
Yeah,
we gotta eat 100 grams of protein, right? Then we might not have a buffalo for
for
5
another.
more days. So
Yeah, yeah,
Well, now,
yeah, and
now
that's
isn't it
exactly it.
determined? Isn't it determined though by the intensity of the workout, or is that just
That's what
not
I'm
a
saying.
factor?
And
So
it
that
gets converted into energy because our bodies still can metabolize our fats and protein into energy by the mitochondria. So that's where I still find different informations about that, old information and then new information based on our mitochondria. If you're doing a lot of high protein and fats, your
mhm.
mitochondria switches it into using that as energy instead of the glucose from the carbohydrates. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of information based on the
Yeah, there's a
activity
lot of
level.
nuance to it. Yeah,
I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think that you have to be into ketosis to do that, right?
close to right.
Yeah.
Because I don't
This
think
is
I like for most of us eating carbs, our protein is going to be used for energy. This is why if you
but it
have the
doesn't go to
glucose,
waste.
I think
The
you got
thing
to
is
be out of glucose for a minute to use it. I think.
and this is where I feel like how can all that other protein goes to waste? It gets converted. The body will convert it into some
They're gonna
sort of
do something
energy.
with it. Yeah,
Yeah. It
Well, I
just,
have a
just
yeah.
doesn't go to waste.
I got a question about that. So, like you were mentioning, Peter was mentioning avocado toast, right? And how it's just kind of like you're sort of wasting your meal on that, even though it tastes good, blah blah blah. Now, Now, what is the insulin factor in all of this, or does it factor in to all of this? Because from my understanding, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, please do. But like fats, like dietary fats, avocados, nuts, things like that, suppress insulin. That's from what I understand. And so insulin is going to come in and like break down nutrients and spread it out to the body. It's like it's needed for that process. But carbohydrates spike it, like send them all out. That's sort of why people who are type 1 diabetic, they really have to monitor their glucose intake because it can really send them spiraling in different directions. So that being said, would you like recommend, I say this to clients, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be the first to admit it. But I usually say having a little bit of carbohydrate with your protein is going to help the protein synthesis.
Yeah, synthesis. Yes, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Just
and I mean, we should always factor in like carbs, of course. And you know what? I've been lucky to have no one that's kind of like diabetic. Do we have anyone like that? Any of us?
I mean, not that I know of. I'm sure we
No.
have people that are there maybe on knocking on the door of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like which one's the non-genetic one? Type 2 or type 1?
type 1.
Type
One.
one
Yeah.
type 1 is the one you get from lifestyle.
Yeah. No, that's type 2. That's type
Type
2.
2, type
Yeah,
2. I
yeah.
mean, I have friends that have gotten, they're like, "Hey, you're about to be type 2 diabetic." I'm sure we got people like that for sure that are
Mm,
either close or
yeah, yeah.
because that's that
Well,
life.
but yeah, that's also what I hear. It's like it's not you can't just eat kind of like a carnivore diet. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh no, no, no. I think you need to definitely add all their stuff like carbs and fats. I wouldn't be able to answer that as well, but
Yeah.
I think you're right,
I
Mike.
usually tell people like
I don't know the answer to that
try
either.
to avoid fats pre and post, like immediately pre and post workout because of suppressing of insulin. What you want to do is have carbohydrates and protein together. They're sort of like they're gonna
They
load up.
hold hands and then
Yeah,
go
they
for it.
Yeah,
love to hang out together and they help each other as where
the
the
type of
fats are.
carbohydrates though. So
Yeah,
we
sure.
want to. I
Yeah,
always tell my
agreed.
clients is to make sure that it's a natural carbohydrates like a honey, like a fruit. But
Mm-hmm.
anything that's been processed or refined, that's what you want to stay away from because that's what spikes it up too high.
And then in
So you want
between those meals is when you want your dietary fats to satiate appetite
Mm-hmm.
and sort of hold you off so you're not like ravenous and
Yeah, I
whatnot
sometimes put like an avocado in my shake just to
in the
spice
morning.
things up. Yeah,
Now,
Oh,
what about where does
spice it up.
fiber play into all this?
But I mean, that's I eat like, a lot of like spinach, a lot of
well,
greens, man.
the rice.
Rice.
avocado. Having avocado is good fiber. Having fruit
Yeah,
is a lot of fiber
yeah,
because it's all
yeah. I'm
balanced.
just that's
And
actually
I was also saying like what Mike said in terms of like absorption and all that. I was like, because for me, I always feel like the two things people lack a lot of is fiber and protein. It's like
Mhm.
you don't find too many people like, oh man, you're not getting enough carbs. It's like-
Yeah, that's true. That's easy to find. And you know what? Hey, I can't help but think that like when I die, I'm gonna like be in heaven and Lucha's gonna be talking about carbs. Like I feel like right now he's gonna look just like that. You know what I mean?
Are
Like
you saying that's what it's
I'm
like in
like,
heaven? Is Lucho's just
yeah,
whispering to you like, "Hey,
yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Yeah, that. And I'm like,
hey,
oh shit,
you got some
you're
You
good
know,
here
carbs?"
too?
so
God
I
damn.
started staying away from all refined carbohydrates like flour,
Mhm.
pastas, breads, and just stick to honey, fruits, and then just the
Wait a
fats I
minute.
eat is from meats and avocados. And then I realized that the activities that I do and how much I burn calories and I nourish myself with these type of carbohydrates, I stay lean. I stay.
Mhm.
But the moment I start introducing any type of bread, any type of refined processed carbohydrates, I'll notice that my skin starts to feel fuller because of the glucose that I'm building up. But
I'm
when I
curious about it. Uh-huh. Let's add to that because you're in Europe, you know, and I think I wonder if there's a difference between what you consume as carbs, right, and what we consume here as carbs. And but keep going with. So you're saying even then you'd feel the
I'll
differences?
feel it because the because I'm eating all just mainly raw materials now. But the moment I start introducing anything that's processed, because I do have those cravings, I'll have the craving of a Danish of something, a pastry.
Yeah.
And I notice when I do a pastry and I don't work out, the next day I'll check and I'll feel it. I'll feel it because I'm not working out. I'm not burning that glucose. But when I stick strict to the diet that I'm on, I stay lean. I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I can feel, well, just my energy level is just great. It's just great. And then I have any refined processed foods, I can feel my energy dropping. I can feel the lethargic feeling in the body because I got sensitive. I stayed sensitive. Uh, Salt. If I put too much salt, I'll feel that. So when the body gets to a clean state, the sensitivity increases
Yeah.
if you're conscious about it, if you stay conscious, because I'm being conscious of my activity level. So that's why when I fast and I have a hard workout, when I have a heavy workout, I could feel that my body could digest more efficiently more protein
Mhm.
because of
Give
the
it.
hard
It's like, give it
workout,
to
of
me.
the heavy workout. Yeah, because my rep level is low because of the heavy strain of the body. I can feel that when I do eat my protein after fasting, that my body will suck it in, right? But to be this way is just more of a disciplined state. But when you get into that disciplined state, your body, you get in tune to the sensitivity of it. I wouldn't recommend this. It's just the way I'm doing it. But I could experiment my own self that I could feel my sensitivity with food and activity. I could feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it speaks exactly because you're in an athletic phase, right? And you're eating. It's like you're feeding your car the unleaded 91 for that specifically, right? Where I'm like consuming the diesel. I'm like, oh, give me more. So it just speaks well of, but I'm trying to lift heavy, and whatever your goal is with physical, you actually start obeying. You start abiding by eating that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you, like
The only
Michael?
protein, the only
Yeah.
protein that I consume is just red meat and pasture pasture free eggs, right? Those are the two main proteins and organs. So I got used to just that type of protein,
Yeah.
and I could feel when I switched it one time with chicken, and I could feel the difference with the chicken.
Huh.
I wasn't happy with the chicken.
You had the crack chicken.
I
Yeah.
You
had
know,
that.
I think Jesse made a good point because he was like, it's different. Like what Lucho's goal is and what Jesse's goal is.
Yeah,
It's all like, and even when I said like, avocado toast, it's not bad. It's just, but when you have someone taking like a female client who wants to gain muscle and get lean, and their breakfast is avocado toast, you're like, that's not good for that goal. But I would
no,
say like if I'm on a hike, avocado toast is probably that's a great
Mhm.
filling,
great.
that's good energy. That's
Yeah,
energy. Like if I'm about to burn a lot of calories, avocado toast is great for that. But yeah, it's not a good meal if you're trying to up your protein and put on
put
lean
on
muscle
muscles.
mass. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's good energy. Good energy
I,
for sure.
I would argue, kind of like to your point, like I would argue if a woman, and I apologize, Mike. Mike is like totally like calisthenics. But if you put a woman like, hey, you, like just to, uh, if a woman wants to like change shape, if you put them through like a bodybuilding program and eat like a bodybuilder, they're gonna change and look leaner. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be bulky or anything like that. They're gonna just be more womanly with biceps. You know what I mean?
Well, I
Um,
mean, I'm gonna push back just a little bit. I know what you're saying as far as like muscle mass on the body increases BMR, which thus burns more body fat at rest. And so if you put more muscle on your frame, hence at rest, that's your point. That's the point you're
yeah.
coming to, right?
Well, if you think of it like any program, Willie. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that the fear and the kickback of like a woman going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you're talking
That's
like
what I mean.
in a bodybuilding modality, not like
Yeah,
CrossFit
right
or
now, yeah. Like if you just come over here, because it's more so what I know. If I
yeah.
were to put this, one of my sisters in a bodybuilding program, they're not gonna look like a bodybuilder. They're just gonna look like what they are, but more muscular. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that there's a lot of pushback um with eating more protein, lifting more weights, whether it be a kettlebell or a barbell, whatever the modality is there, and they not entrusting it as much as they should. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree
um,
with you. Actually, at the end of the day, I totally agree with you. My only pushback would probably be that it's all in the sagittal plane. It would be my only like.
yeah, yeah,
I think people need to move in all planes of motion, and I think you can progressively overload in all planes of motion. That
yeah,
would be
yeah,
my only thing.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause you
yeah,
really, if you think about a bodybuilding, like just a bodybuilding, like a bodybuilder, what they do, it's a lot is weightlifting and like walking. Like a lot, they do a lot of walking for cardio and a lot of weightlifting. So when you think about take someone, you're like, okay, I want you to lift weights consistently, and I want you to walk consistently. That's great for a lot of people. It's just, but the bodybuilder go to the extreme, and it's really the pharmaceuticals, the extreme eating, and they're doing hella
yeah,
lifting.
And the tight joints, and
yeah.
Yeah, look at the bare bones of what they're doing. They're just because, like Lucho, when you were doing bodybuilding, what was your main cardio? Like, what were you doing?
Well, you just said walking,
Yes, it's
elliptical,
like so.
but it's yeah,
So you think about it, someone just upping their cardio and lifting weights consistently. That's kind of the bare bones of a
yeah.
bodybuilding program.
And that's
But
not the
then
body.
what Mike's saying is like it's also in the everyday life performance side. Like
Yeah,
you
when
want to add, you want to sprinkle, you want to get some other movement in there. But
yeah, throw
And
yeah,
some dynamics
yeah,
into it. You could be all jacked and big, and then you reach this way to grab something, like, oh, my back's out now, and it's like,
and that's the majority of the population that wants to feel that way, not the bodybuilding way. If I had to pick now, I wouldn't pick the bodybuilding way. I would pick that planes of motion. Use everything to feel
yeah.
to
Every
feel.
time I'm trying to like scratch my back, I'm like, fuck yeah, I can't reach.
yeah.
I'm like,
But to Jesse's point, it's accessible because it does simplify things, and it gets people in, and less they'll come to whatever my Monday class, and like that dude's, that's too much for me right now. Like I totally support it. I get it. I think it's great. Learn how to squat first bilaterally, learn how to deadlift bilaterally, learn how to pull and push in a bilateral sense, and then you can start to add in the dynamics and things, but you're building a base, like a
yeah,
foundation.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, bodybuilders they can't wipe their ass normal. They have to wipe
yeah,
sometimes
dude.
forward.
That's when it takes Juan, and he comes
I'm,
over.
I'm,
It was
I'm
like,
fact checking that right now.
hey, help me out, Juan, and he comes in.
I hate to say this, but I remember one time I was at Gold's Gym, and I was in the bathroom, and the guy didn't close his stall, and I saw him reaching forward, wiping his ass forward because he couldn't reach around.
Like a sister.
let me because we're probably, man, we've been on here for 47 minutes. This has been a good conversation, but let me. Uh, I'm not going to wrap it up right now, but I wanted to ask you if you had, because this is common. This is common. Like I do, we all when I do the consultations in the gym, and there's men that come in, men and women, especially you hear both. Now, you used to always just be men, but now you're also getting women that are like, I want to put on muscle mass, I want to gain some muscle. But someone who's like, man, I'm 150 pounds, I want to be 160. What's your like quick like elevator pitch? What are you gonna tell them? Your
You know
quick
what?
little summary of here's the reality of what you got to do.
You know what's funny? You know what comes to mind? Charles. Remember Charles, that fella
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
with the
Who
nice haircut?
actually? I just I had him last week, and I was like, his sleeves were kind of up, and I was like,
Yeah,
Charles, you
Charles.
filled out. You filled
yeah.
out.
Hey,
Yeah,
Charles, big up,
Charles'
Charles.
son? You know about Charles' son?
That's right.
Charles son, man, he filled out.
Yeah, his shirts are too small
You know
now. I'm
why?
like, dude,
He's been
extra
hitting it
medium, bro.
hard.
I didn't
He's been.
find much, but what I did found was bodybuilders wipe their asses with smaller and weaker people from the gym. I thought that kind of.
Well, you wipe my ass right now, Buster.
And then further
That's
down,
true.
they says they don't.
Yeah, we just
Anyway.
I try to. Never mind. I was gonna go farther. It's too much right now. Is this like a
Good.
morning
Back to
show
back
or
to
an
your
evening?
back to your advice, and you were going to use
Yeah, yeah,
Charles.
yeah. So Charles used to hate having me for his coach when we used to do in the small group. And I was like, do more, do more, go more, do more. He was like, oh, come on. But one day he would ask me, he was like, hey, what do I need to do? I was like, look, you actually don't have to do anything because he likes more of the calisthenic stuff with you, Mike. He
He
loves like
liked.
being
He
able to,
liked. He liked. He's actually has
oh,
not been
Charles.
to. And he claims he's busy and he's traveling and whatnot. But you know what? If he's found something different and he likes it and he's getting results, I'm all for it.
No,
That's
he's been
true.
in. Well, I also, Charles. Well, we can't put. I think Charles got a lady now, so
Putting
Yeah,
some
I
time in
do.
that.
I think that
Sunday
He's
that,
morning
doing.
at
but
9
but
a.m.
he
is
has
you
been.
see,
I had him in small group a couple times, like Friday 6 a.m. So he's been in. He's been in. I think his schedule's just
further,
shifted.
He's probably
He's
he's
still.
increased his cardio.
yeah,
Started.
further proving my point, man. So he was
So
just
what were you
like,
saying?
so I was just like, dude, just eat more. That's it. All you got to do, think about what you're eating and eat more. And how about this? Just do one thing. Change. Whenever we want our clients to like up something or drop something, right? As far as food or routine, start with one thing. And I was like, hey, Charles, just do this one thing. Just have one shake a day. All right. He didn't have any shakes, any protein shake or anything. I was like, do that and and consume. And when you do take a shake, make it 40, 50 grams of protein, right? He made that one change. And that actually was like, hey, I've only made that one change. And now I'm like at least 5 pounds heavier or I forget how much, but he gained weight just like
Yeah,
that from
yeah.
doing just adding protein to his body.
And that's a great point of like the one thing, because I know you way back like 30 minutes ago, now we're 51, like 30 way back you had said something about people try to do too much of like where you were talking about how you just did rice. People they'll be like, well, I'm gonna do the shake and I'm also gonna
Yeah.
get grass-fed bison
Yeah,
flown
yeah,
in,
yeah, all this stuff.
all these things. So like so he just did one thing because
You
that was
change one thing. Just
you
change
could
one
stick
thing.
with it. You could stick
Yeah,
with one. Yeah.
stick to that one thing until that one thing actually is just part of your day. And now you could add a secondary thing and so forth, right? But he made that one change, Charles, big up. And now he has lady girls. He has the lady friends coming around, touching his bicep and all, right? So, um,
He's
We
touching
gotta
so
his.
shut when Charles works out. We gotta lock the door because they be outside trying to get in. Be like, no, no,
yeah,
Nah, nah,
let that
nah.
man. Because hey, you
he's
also that video of him doing the chin up with the 45-pound plate. They were like, I'm
Good
coming to
job.
real
I'm
fitness.
getting that
That's
fella right
it.
there.
That's what got his big bicep. Is right there. That
Yeah,
heavy lifting,
yeah, that 40, which was in the calisthenics class.
which is in
So
the calisthenics. I was gonna say calisthenics. Don't knock it. That is a power movement. Calisthenics is a
Oh
power
yeah.
movement because it's
I
not just
say,
working that one area. It's working a multiple area, multiple facets of
man.
the body.
I would say, it's funny. Like I've been doing powerlifting and bodybuilding. Still, calisthenics is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Not even close, man.
I think I
Not
do
even
that more
close.
now. I think I do more calisthenics now than I've done before when I was bodybuilding. But when you combine that with weights, man, you can't beat that. You can't
that's
beat
You're
that.
like,
you know what that is. You know what that is. That's prison. That's why
That's
they
yeah.
yeah,
they
That's
prison
why.
combines
you
weights
got
and
There
that
you go.
calisthenics.
There you
There
They
you
get
go.
go.
those.
that
They get some
prison
amazing.
strength.
They get some
Yeah.
amazing physiques. So.
So Mike, you keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Lucho. Thank you.
Funny.
All right. Well, listen, Jen, I
But yeah, but
gotta,
that's oh
I gotta
yeah,
escape
yeah, yeah.
soon. Just saying. Just gotta put it up there.
Any last minute pointers for all the people that want to put some muscle mass?
Yeah, I mean, I
Any
think
last minute pointers?
I think above all, like if and right now again, I'm speaking in terms of like people putting on muscle mass. The fastest way you could do that is bodybuilding and calisthenics will get you there. Hit will get you there. Those things will get you there, but it's just going to take a little while longer. Bodybuilding will get you immediately there because that's the whole point, right? And I think we have to tell our people that of all things, not training to failure, but at least approaching it is what's going to maximize your time there,
No,
right?
it's part of is a key component.
That is a huge key component of bodybuilding or anything really, if you think about it.
Modality, yeah. Anything, yeah.
And and
You got to
and
have
and
resistance. The
You have
more
to,
resistance, the more trauma, the more that protein that you're intaking is what's going to repair it and then create it.
yeah.
So
So,
all that works together. All that is
so,
together.
so if all four of our listeners are out there, I'm like, that is the one thing, like, welcome failure, like, welcome it, at least smell it, at
Well
least sniff
said.
it. You got to feel it. All right.
You
Yeah.
got to feel
That's
it.
it.
All right.
So thank you all for tuning in.